And welcome back to the channel. Mr. Acolyte here, coming at you with my visual guide for Dragon Ball FighterZ patch that no one anywhere knew we were ever gonna get. This is by far one of the biggest patches the game has had in a while. Every character has changes, some more than others, but the big changes are really big, and most notably there are a lot of new system mechanics. So there is a whole bunch to discuss, and I'm going to break it all down in a visual guide style so that it's easy to digest and you know exactly what's going on in this brand new patch. We're going to cover every character one by one, so there will be timestamps at the bottom, so feel free to jump to the characters that you're interested in. If you do that, however, please be sure to leave a like, as it does help out a lot, especially with big videos like this, and I do appreciate it. Also, if you want to help support the channel, consider becoming a member. We have a lot of cool perks, like early looks at videos and sneak peeks and stuff like that. So if you want to check that out, hit the join button, and I would really appreciate it. It does help out a ton. But other than that, let's go ahead. We got a lot to discuss. Let's go ahead and start breaking down all the changes of this new and impossible balance patch. Okay, so the first thing we're going to break down are the new system mechanics. System mechanic changes, of course, are the most important changes because they affect every character and the way the game is played. This patch has a lot of system mechanic changes, enough to say that this feels like a brand new game in my opinion. So starting with the first one, that is Ki Charge. Ki Charge has been buffed once again. You can tell the devs really want us to use Ki Charge in battle because they keep on buffing it. The buff this time is you can cancel it faster. Ki Charge can be very quickly canceled into Super Dash. So now if you have a read on someone about to shoot Ki Blast, it's easier to go from a Ki Charge to a Super Dash. In that same vein, you can also cancel it more quickly into Dragon Rush. So the goofy full screen Dragon Rush now has an even better purpose because you can cancel Ki Charge faster. This would be good in combos as well as neutral. That is because the lunging Dragon Rush now also has Ki Blast immunity. So if you really have a big read, you can jump scare your opponent from full screen with a Dragon Rush right through their Ki Blast. Pretty funny. Next up is a brand new mechanic. Reflect has been buffed. There's a brand new variant that the community's called a Perfect Reflect. So if the opponent does a physical attack and you perfectly time a reflect, you will get a screen freeze. That screen freeze slows the opponent down and gives you the potential to actually punish them. Your opponent is going to have to be much more careful about doing bad vanishes. Now, not all characters are going to get a good punish off of this, so they also added the ability to cancel a Perfect Reflect into a vanish. Next up, Sparking Blast changes. Sparking Blast got a nerf and a buff. On the nerf side of things, if you block it, it is now more negative for the person who did it. So now if you bait someone's spark, you actually get rewarded because it is your turn. No longer do you have to worry about baiting someone's spark and then getting mashed out afterwards. Definitely a really good change. But of course, they're not going to nerf spark too much. A buff that it received is you get better mobility when you're in Spark. When you super jump, you have more control over your momentum. And kind of like Marvel 3, you even move faster. You can see just how fast I'm moving even without dashing. And yeah, just in general, you have a lot more control over how you float, how you fall, and how fast you move. So Spark is always going to be a really strong state in this game, and it just got a little bit stronger. Next up is a monumental change. I'm honestly still trying to wrap my head around this. This is probably one of the biggest changes the game has ever seen since launch, all the way back in 2018. They buffed assist calls. Just a regular assist call now has less cooldown. Go ahead and look at the Freeza cooldown there, and you can see it is lightning fast. You get it back in just a few seconds now. This means that throughout the match, you're just gonna have way more access to assists, which means you're gonna have more access to your pressure, your combos, and your Oki. And I believe the purpose of this buff is to kind of speed up the flow of the game, because a very popular strategy, especially at higher levels of play in this game, is to wait for your assist to return. Usually people will call their assist. If they don't get anything, they'll back off till it comes back. With the old assist cooldown, it was actually a little while that you had to back off if you had no assist to go in with. But now that once you call it, it's only a second or two before it's back. That's a lot less time that you have to buy before you can call your assist again. So this is naturally just gonna make the flow of battle faster, because again, you're gonna be able to do more damage over time, apply more pressure, apply better Oki, everything that you wanna do in this game, you're gonna be able to do more frequently because you're gonna have more access to assists. It's important to note that this only applies to the A and B assist. C assist is completely unchanged, so it is now the odd man out. C assist has been indirectly buried. It is heavily nerfed because of this. If you just look at the cooldowns here, check this out. They're both on cooldown now. Look at Freeza versus Nappa. Frieza's back. That's 1. That's 2. Nappa's still coming back. And yes, that's 3. So now 1 C assist is worth 3 normal assists. So I think it's safe to say this is finally the death of triple C assist. If someone is using a triple C assist, they are putting themselves at a massive disadvantage. As of the time of me making this guide, I'm not even sure if a single C assist is worth it, because the new cooldown on regular assists is just so fast that it kind of feels like you're just cheating yourself if you pick even 1 C assist now. The next one is a really good change. It's gonna make a lot of people happy, myself included. A while back, they added the worst mechanic ever that made everybody upset. It still makes people upset to this day. That is, of course, air guard cancel. Basically, they are apologizing by buffing it. If you air guard cancel high enough, you don't have any recovery on landing. This is a fantastic change, because if you've played this game at all, you already know without me telling you, 90% of the time, air guard cancel comes out by complete accident. Usually when you don't want it at all, that's when it happens. And what happens after it comes out, you end up dying because you have so much recovery. So thanks to this change, hopefully that should happen a lot less often. Now, the last mechanical change, I'm not gonna lie, is one that I'm actually worried about. They once again buffed Limit Break. In the current version of the game, when you enter Limit Break, not only do you get 1 free bar, but if you look at Vegeta's bar right there next to me, your bar fills up passively. This is for all characters in the game. All characters, meter fills passively, and this stacks with your actions like dashing or doing combos or block strings. So you can imagine anchor characters are going to be absolutely diabolical. If you think about somebody like a base Goku, you know, a Tenshinhan, Beerus, you know, characters who are already scary as anchors are basically gonna have a never-ending flow of meter, which is honestly terrifying. I hope this doesn't come back to really haunt us. I think this change is going to really shake things up in a scary way, but I hope it's not like that negative. Time will have to tell, but for now, it definitely seems like anchors are going to be omega scary. SSJ Goku. SSJ Goku got numerous changes to just about every part of his kit to help improve his damage, his neutral, and his offense. Starting with his LL, he now has reduced recovery, so this is just a better string, harder for the opponent to punish. LLL now has a new follow-up. You can do LL forward L, and it'll switch sides with them. Pretty funny. 5M also has reduced recovery, so again, if you're poking with this, it's going to be harder for the opponent to whiff punish you. It's also safe on block at just -3. Same for his 2M. it is -3. Even from a distance, it's -2, so this is just a fantastic poke. And if you whiff it, it still has less recovery, so his 2 key buttons are all around stronger. His 5H is now chargeable, and it has less recovery. So this has less recovery on block. It's still -8, so be careful, but on whiff, it's a little bit faster to recover. And again, you can charge it. His Dragon Fist, the 236 series, they all have reduced startup, so they all come out quicker. And the light version is now plus on block. So he can now extend his pressure just with a light Dragon Fist. You don't need to even spend meter for him to be plus. The M version now has a better knockdown on hit. They do that big bounce before they slide, so this will help you make sure that you get your follow-up supers and your pressure extensions with assists. The signature Kamehameha character, he now has the best version of it. It just all around has fantastic recovery no matter where you are on the screen. You don't even have to vanish anymore to make it safe. They also buffed the super version of his beam. It comes out faster to help you get your conversions and combos and stuff like that. And these buffs also make it easier to combo into the warp version. And speaking of the warp version, you can now super dash off of it. And wrapping things up with his assist, his A assist got buffed. It now has more block stun than ever. Beam assists, of course, are some of the best assists in the game. This one just got even better. They also went ahead and buffed the block stun on his C assist. This is sort of a universal thing. We'll still cover it with most characters, but yeah, since C assists are not as valuable anymore, a lot of them are either faster or just have better block stun. SSJ Vegeta, he got some pretty interesting buffs to a few parts of his kit, as well as a lot of buffs to his assists. Starting with his LLL, the pushback on block has been reduced. So now that this is -2, and you also have the plus version, the opponent is much closer to you now, so it is easier to take advantage of your stagger or your plus frames. Moving on to his light rocket kick, they went ahead and just completely removed the landing recovery for it. So now if you use this move to traverse the screen and call your assists, you no longer have to worry about landing recovery unless you do the flip. If you do the flip, sadly, he still has it. But if you go backwards or if you whiff it, no more landing recovery. So that's definitely a nice change there. His medium rocket kick also has reduced recovery, so this also recovers a bit faster even if you whiff it. And if it connects with the opponent, the knockback has been reduced, so it's going to be easier for you to get combos and stuff like that, especially in the corner, and it's going to be easier to pick up with assists when you use it mid-screen. Next is a bit of a strange one. They buffed his light DP slightly. They made it move forward a little bit further, as well as reducing the landing recovery on it a little bit. And they also went ahead and increased the block stun on block, even though it is still unsafe. Bit of a strange change here. I'm not sure why they would target his light DP, but I guess they felt that it was a little lacking. Moving on to his Big Bang Attack Super, they increased the stun time in order to make sure that, again, it is easier for you to connect your follow-up supers. And moving on to his assists, starting with his A assist. His A assist now starts up faster. You can definitely tell it starts up super fast now. He doesn't have like that sort of lag he had before. And not just that, but you can control where Vegeta goes by holding different directions. If you hold forward, he will lunge forward. And if you hold back, he will slide backwards. Very, very interesting. This gives you a lot of control over this very, very powerful assist. Moving on to his B assist, they went ahead and buffed the knockback on it. So when it hits the opponent, you can see they spin out in the air rather than just flying away from you and it being hard to pick up. They also increase the stun time. So now when you connect it, it is very easy to see that it hit and then just run up and get your combo. Very nice buff there. And they also went ahead and buffed his C assist. The C assist now just straight up starts up faster. This assist is fully invincible, so the fact that it's coming out even more quickly is a pretty considerable buff. Piccolo got some pretty interesting buffs. Most of them pertain to his combo game. Going forward, his combo game should be even stronger than it already is. Starting with his 6S, it now has more hit stun, so it's just easier to pick up off of stray hits or to pick opponents up with your assists. His elbows all have better hit stun on them now. So again, it's going to be easy to pick them up off of assists. His slicers all got buffed. First of all, when you do the slicer, you now have the option of holding the button to change where Piccolo appears. So instead of appearing in front of them, you'll now appear on the other side. This is for all versions of the slicer. Specifically for the light version, now you can do this with just about any assist. Moving on to the medium version now automatically causes a ground bounce on hit. So instead of them just automatically being planted on the floor, this gives him potential again to combo into an assist. So this is really good because this is one of those moves that you fish with at neutral sometimes. And now if it actually connects, instead of them just being grounded, you get a full combo opportunity. This is also true for the H version. When you do the H version, they bounce off the ground and you pass through them now. For both the M and H, this is also a big buff because you can self-combo this by canceling the orb. Teen Gohan got a handful of buffs that are meant to help both his neutral game and his offense. Starting with his LL, his most infamous button, his LL can now cancel into a JM. So now when you do his auto combo, you are no longer locked into position. You can immediately do his JM. And as you know, his JM is one of his best buttons and combo starters. So that's just going to be way better combo opportunities and even pressure sequences for Gohan in most situations. His rocket kick now starts up even faster. At round start, it starts up at 12 frames. Up close, it starts up from 10 frames. This is one of his best neutral pokes, so the fact that it is faster is a big plus. Speaking of plus, his DP. They went ahead and buffed just about everything about it. They buffed the travel distance, the block stun for some reason, the hit stun, and they removed some of the recovery on it. So this is just all around a better attack. You still don't want people blocking it because you're going to be extremely punishable, but if it ever connects, it's just a better attack in general. The medium DP got buffed in the auto combo version. The auto combo version now has more hit stun on it. This might lead to better combo situations in the corner. And then his HDP, for some reason, has better block stun. I don't know why they gave better block stun to a DP, but yeah, it's basically safe now. It's -5. They reduced the recovery and increased the block stun. So yeah, he can DP you now and not be punishable. And moving on to his level 5, they decided to make it to where if you go all in and cash out with his level 5, you get Oki now. When you do his level 5, they pop up into the air and bounce, making you extremely plus. This is so plus that you can actually, even from full screen, you can run up and get pressure now. So I guess at the cost of 5 bars, they want you to still be able to continue your pressure. Moving on to his B assist. This crazy assist that's been buffed a lot in the past got buffed again. It now comes out faster and covers more distance. Yeah, look how far it tracks the opponent now, and it starts up lightning fast, and they even reduce the knockback. So it lasts forever, comes out faster, and they go straight up in the air when they get hit by it, so there's just no way you're not gonna get your combo off of this. Freeza. As usual, Freeza got buffs that are mostly meant to buff his golden form, but he did get a couple of buffs aimed at his base form. Starting with his LLL, if you do this from a long range, it is now plus on block. It's a whopping plus 20, so that's a nice little change right there. His 5M now starts up faster. It no longer has that sort of lag on it, even from full screen. He just kind of glides across the screen. Apparently he even travels further faster, and he just travels further in general. And when you're using this in block strings, it just comes out a lot faster there as well. But not only that, they went ahead and added a variant. You can now hold back and press M, and that will put a purposeful delay in it. When you do this version, you not only have a gap in there to try to catch buttons, but if you look at the frame data, you are now neutral. So he has a neutral button. Anytime you do this, you do not lose your turn. So you can just keep on attacking and use this as a stagger point. This would be amazing for Golden Frieza, of course, because again, his whole thing is reverse beats, but base Frieza can benefit from this as well. It's also very good on hit because it sort of relaunches them to let you continue your combo. Finally, a buff directly meant for base Frieza and improving his zoning. They heavily buffed 5S. If you just take a look at Labcoat's health there, I'll turn off the recovery so you can see it more easily. They increase the damage. It does way more damage now. Just landing a couple of shots, as you can see, does a pretty considerable chunk. And obviously, of course, you can still combo that. You can do a lot with just a 5S. So the fact that that does so much damage is kind of shocking. That's going to make Frieza's zoning a lot scarier. And if that wasn't good enough, he also now has a 6S. If you hold forward and hit S now, his ki blasts come out even faster. As you can see, from almost full screen, I hit him at 17 frames. Right there was 19, but yeah, 18. It 15, it's lightning fast. As if Frieza's ki blast wasn't fast already. Now if you hold forward, it is blindingly fast, and it does a ton of damage. So yeah, his zoning definitely just got a lot scarier. And not just that, he also has a back variant. If you hold back, he will shoot more slowly. So if you just kind of want to sit there and like pelt them behind like one of these, you can do that too. So yeah, this is going to open up a lot for him. And I feel like it's a simple change, but it's going to do a lot for a zoning character like Frieza. And keeping that sort of trend going, they also buffed the eye lasers. If you do any of the angled versions, 1S or 3S, he now leaps in that direction. So anytime you do 1S, you now get this basically a backdash with it. Keep in mind that this move is whiff cancelable. So now you are poking a very good angle while quickly moving backwards. This means it's going to be even easier to get a 2H on a super dash because you're always creating more distance for yourself. Next up, they buffed the first hit of his JM. This might seem like a weird change on paper, but that is, of course, because this is meant for Golden Frieza. With his JM being a very important part of his loops, now, because of the fact that it has so much stun on it, his more advanced looping routes are much more easy to do and much more consistent. And lastly, they went ahead and reduced the landing recovery on his JS. Now, if you want to actually use this move, it's not quite as risky. Before, if you did this move near the opponent, you would basically die. It was so unsafe. But now, depending on where you do it, it can basically be neutral to where you don't even really lose your turn, and you're definitely not going to get punished. Captain Ginyu, my buddy, he got some amazing buffs, and he basically got exactly what he needed this patch. I'm very happy with his changes. Let's go ahead and start breaking those down, starting with the meme button itself, 5H. That's right, they kept the tradition alive. In case you're not aware, this game has a funny tradition of every single balance patch, the devs always buff Ginyu's 5H. It's gotten buffed every single time, and this time is no different. When you charge his 5H now, this low hitting attack can now be canceled into a 6M. So now basically you can try to make the opponent guess on, is your spin gonna end with a low attack or an overhead? Moving on to his only special move, the shoulder. The L version has a better hit reaction when it connects. The opponent sort of lingers in front of you now, so this makes it a lot easier to link it into assists. And if you do the auto combo, the medium auto combo, the shoulder now stuns them. This gives him new combo opportunities in the corner. Next is definitely his biggest buff by far, and that is the buff to his EX shoulder. If you do the grounded version, it is now plus on block, a whopping plus 10. This is huge because it is notorious that Ginyu has a hard time getting any of his summons out without assists. Usually what you would try to do, or what most Ginyu players do that you probably shouldn't do, is to do a shoulder and try to summon. But all that happens, as you can see, is that you just immediately get hit because you're negative. The fact that this is plus means that you can actually get the summon out. And not just that, it's still your turn after they block it because you're plus 10. So now Ginyu actually has solo ways of getting Ginyu Force pressure started on block, which is huge for him. Moving on to the Force members, some of them have been buffed as well. Jesus Crusher Ball is now more plus on block. This gives Ginyu a lot more summon options from full screen and up close. This is also true for Purple Comet Crash. It is now more plus on block. This is not that big of a deal because it's still a Ki Blast, so they can super dash and reflect, but still noteworthy that it is plus 63 if they do decide to block. Probably the most shocking Force buff here is Raccoon. If you do the Ultra Fighting Miracle Bomber, it now builds meter on its own. An entire bar is built from that. So basically, they finally found a use for this. When this is up, because it gives so much meter, it's going to force the opponent to try to rush in and stop him, because the only way to stop Raccoon is to hit him. So this is going to add a lot of mind games to the match. Moving on to his assist. His A assist is now more plus on block. This being a pretty reliable lariat assist, having more block stun is always a welcome change. But of course, the single most important change to talk about is that they finally did the thing that Ginyu really needed, and they fixed both of his glitches. That's right. Both the Guldo glitch and the Ginyu B glitch are both gone, thank God. He's finally fixed. So when you have Ginyu behind you, you can now confidently call Ginyu B, and you don't have to worry about getting glitched. If they get interrupted, it is no longer going to cause that situation where you can't call your Force members. And if you call Ginyu B, you no longer lose your Guldo freeze. This used to be a really bad problem that I complained about a lot. But as you can see, I just used Ginyu B. Now I'm going to call Guldo. Boom, he's still freezing them. So you no longer lose your combo routes. You get everything. The glitches are gone. Thank goodness. You can finally play Ginyu with peace of mind. Trunks. Trunks was a bit of a public enemy in the previous patch. After being considered weak by most for so long, in the last patch he was considered too strong. So in this patch, he's receiving some adjustments to make him more in line with the rest of the cast. He did get a few buffs though, starting with his LL. They reduced the recovery of it. So if you're fishing for that invincible follow-up, he has a little bit less recovery if you stop at the LL. And of course, that means it's better on block as well. It's only -5. His 3M, the slide, by holding down forward, it is delayed. So it's not quite as fast as it was before. It used to be like a bullet. It still goes full screen, but you can tell it is much slower now as it travels full screen. 5S, the gun. This move was so toxic in the last patch. It has been adjusted. It now has more recovery, so if someone just throws it out, you can see he's -61. So yeah, if you whiff this, it's a lot more unsafe. And they also nerfed the damage scaling. So now if you hit somebody with this, they don't just automatically fade away from existence. Same is true for Shining Slash. This is very, very, very hard to react to. And because of that, they went ahead and nerfed the scaling on this too. So now you are not just getting TOD obliterated when you get hit by Shining Slash, which again is very, very hard to block. Cell got some pretty interesting buffs. The main focus seemed to be around the strongest part of his kit, which is his buttons. Starting with his LL, he now has a new input. He has L6L. You can see if you do 6L, he does a delayed rushing attack there. And the point of this is, if it's on block, it is now plus. So he now has a way of just being plus meterlessly. His 5M has now been sped up if it's in a combo. So now if you're staggering, this button comes out faster than it normally would to make sure that you don't miss any of your combos. This is also true for his 2M, except this is not inside of combos, it's outside. His 2M just straight up starts up faster. From up close, it's 9 frames, but even far away, you can see it hits pretty quick. He slides forward very, very fast now. His 2H is one of his only buttons people don't like. It tends to miss super dashes and anti-air sometimes. So now you have a 3H. So the chance of that happening seems to be a lot lower because now he lunges forward. This, I'm not gonna lie, this looks like a mod move. Moving on to his teleport strike, the 2L, this now starts up faster. The L version in the air now has a overall faster startup. Also faster is his command grab. If you do his command grab, it is now 23 frames, so it's gonna be a lot easier to jump scare people because it's actually a pretty fast command grab now. Moving on to his beam, it now does more damage. His beam is a big part of his combo routing. So the fact that it does more damage is just going to add to his overall damage because he does beams a lot in his combos. And moving on to his A assist comes out a lot faster. You can definitely tell this used to be a very sluggish assist, but he comes out faster. It has way more hit stun. Plus 81 is insane. You can see they spin out all the way to the other side of the screen, so you're never gonna get your combo. And he leaves the screen faster. So just all around a way better assist. The same is true for his B assist. It travels much faster and has even more stun. It's almost full screen now. So the fact that it is a wall bouncing assist means it's just that much better. This might be by far his best assist now because it's super fast and goes super far. Android 18, widely considered to be one of the strongest characters in the previous patch, is getting buffed in this patch, if you can believe it. She did get one very minor and kind of bizarre nerf, however. Her LLL is just more unsafe on block. It's -5. Not sure why they decided to do that. You're not really going to be doing LLL with her, but hey, there it is. 2L, here comes one of the buffs. It is now -2 on block, has less recovery on whiff, and has less pushback. So as you can see, if you want to stagger with this, they do not go anywhere. They are stuck right in front of you, so you can stagger this for a while. 5M, reduced recovery, one of her best buttons, just has less recovery, -5 on block, recovers faster on whiff. Her command grab, the medium version and the H version, both start up faster at 25 frames and 23 frames respectively. The last change is to her A assist, and I'm not gonna lie, this is a crazy one. If you use it to actually block something, you get meter. As you can see there, for using it on a beam, I got 75% of a bar. I don't know if it's a good idea to buff barriers, which are considered to be the best assists in the game, but here we are, and we'll see what kind of effect this has on the future. Gotenks. Gotenks has received some unique and interesting buffs to basically his entire kit. Let's start with his buttons. His 6L now travels further faster. So you can do his 5L if you want, but his 6L moves forward very far, and it is now much faster than before. This goes together with his LLL buff. This is also faster and has less recovery on whiff. So if you just want to lunge into people, that doesn't appear to be a problem with this little demon. This is even 0 on block if they block it, which is crazy because he can still air dash after this. So if you line this up with an assist, this could be a dangerous mix-up. His 5S also got buffed. It now does more ki blast the longer you hold the button down. The medium version of Dynamite Kick is now a anti-air, which is pretty crazy. Galactic Donut is now more plus on block. You can see it is a whopping +15. Die Missile Barrage now has more hit stun and less knockback. They actually bounce off the floor now. So again, it's going to be easier for him to get his combo conversions because of the fact that they do that little bounce and they're held in place for longer. So this will help his combo game out a lot. Speaking of helping him out, one of the best things about Gotenks has always been his Ghost Oki, but it might be kind of hard for some players to use. If you don't know, you have to negative edge it. If you don't know what a negative edge is, that means holding a button down to get the action that you want. For example, if I press 5L here, the ghost on the top left is going to attack them. So if I want to attack without that happening, I have to hold the button down and then let it go. This can be pretty complicated for newer players. It's a pretty complicated concept that you have to actually practice, but you might not have to do that anymore. If you hold back now, none of the ghosts will attack no matter what button you press. So now you can set ghosts up and attack to your heart's content, and they won't attack until you let go of the back button or you run out of time and they all do their attack. So this will make it a lot easier to do Ghost Oki setups for just about any player of any skill level. And for his assists, they buffed his A assist and now has more block stun. It is a whopping +56. Krillin, one of the strongest and most infamous characters of last patch, has been buffed again in this patch. This time they went ahead and substantially buffed his zoning options. Starting with his 5S, he now has a new input. You can do 6S. It dramatically increases the speed at which the ki blasts travel. You can see if I do the regular, it reaches the opponent in 30 frames. But if I do 6S, it reaches them in 23, almost 10 frames faster. Not only that, if you do the follow-up input, This is what it normally looks like. It's kind of hard to get the bullets to rain down on them, but it becomes very easy if you do the 6S version. They also buffed the jumping version. If you do JS and hold forward, it is a lot faster to help with the zoning. And with this version, you can shoot the ki blasts in crazy different directions by holding either forward or back. So Krillin has a lot more control over how he wants the ki blast to rain on the opponent. They also buffed his 2S. If it makes contact with the opponent, you can instantly cancel it into his H buttons or his S buttons. I'm no Krillin combo expert, but I'm sure this is going to lead to some brand new routing opportunities for sure. The same is true for his J2S. You can cancel it immediately into any of his S attacks. And for his supers, they went ahead and made Destructo Disc faster. It travels across the screen much more quickly than before, meaning it's going to be easier to combo into and DHC into without dropping your combo. Kid Buu. Kid Buu is a character that people have wanted desperately to see buffed ever since way back in Season 3 when he got nerfed. It's been a long time since Kid Buu has been considered strong in this game, and I have a feeling that's all about to change because he has been mega buff. Let's go ahead and check it out. Starting with his LLL, he now joins the cast of annoying characters whose final hit of their auto combo is an anti-air. Okay, so basically all of his buttons have been buffed. Basically all of them. His 5M comes out faster and has less recovery. You can see it's -5. You can see it comes out like a bullet even from far away, and it has less recovery. 2M, same thing, comes out very fast, has less recovery. 5H comes out faster, has less recovery. JM comes out faster, has less recovery. J2H comes out faster, less recovery. I think you get the point. Basically, all of his buttons are no longer slow and sluggish. You can now finally press his buttons without worrying about, wow, I'm gonna get hit just because I'm trying to fish with his awkward buttons. They're no longer as awkward as before. The same is true for his Ki Blast. His 2S no longer has landing recovery. So you can do this move, which makes you hop, and is plus, and now you can immediately go into a mix-up. If you do this and call an assist, you get basically an invisible mix because of the fact that you can still air dash. So the fact that there is no landing recovery on this means that he is once again gonna be a mix-up machine. This is also true for his JS, no landing recovery there, and his J2S. So if he's in the air, he can come down to the ground with plus frames and he no longer has any recovery. They buffed the medium Blanca Ball. If you do medium Blanca Ball, you can now hold back, and you can see it starts up a little more slowly, but in return for that, it is plus now. So now one of his biggest mix-up tools is a solo plus move. So again, this is going into that territory of him just being able to pressure you on his own without even needing assists. They also buffed the recovery on his anti-air grabs. If you go for any of his anti-air grabs, they recover faster than before. Continuing on with the trend of just making everything faster and better, Arm Ball comes out much faster and has much less recovery. So you can see it's very, very plus, and it's gonna be even easier now to string into it because it comes out so quickly, even from a distance. So again, this is gonna help him get solo mix all by himself. Candy Beam has also been buffed. It now recovers more blue life. And moving on to his supers, his level 1 has less recovery. He recovers a bit faster now. As you can see, some of the rain was still coming down. So again, I hate to keep repeating myself, but if you use his super, it's just going to allow him to get his pressure going more quickly and more easily. And then his level 3 starts up faster. He does the shout a lot faster, so it's going to help with his combos. It comes out, and it's going to help as a reversal too. It comes out at a whopping 11 frames. Majin Buu, one of the scariest mix-up characters in the entire game, just got a little scarier. Let's take a look at his buffs. Starting with his auto combo, he has a grab at the end of it that can be set up with very meticulous planning, but they said forget about all that. They're going to give him the Videl treatment. Now, if you hold forward, he will fake out the low kick. He does this little twirl animation where he fakes you out, and that means you get to automatically grab them. So now anytime he's on somebody's block, he has the potential to just grab you. If you're re-stood in the fat throw, has the potential to grab you. This is a very scary buff for such a strong mix-up character like Buu here. His 5M is also faster. It now hits at 25 frames. This is just going to be, again, better for his mix-up potential. 5S has less recovery, so if you use it from point-blank range, it is safe. If you use it a little further away, it is plus. Cartwheel, his signature move, got a very, very goofy and silly buff. You can now do it forever. It no longer has a move limit restriction. You can just do it as many times as you want. Very funny. His EX Cartwheel, one of his staple mix-up tools, just got a better mix-up option. If you hold up, he will now leap over the opponent's head for a potential cross-up mix. Moving on to his supers, his level 1 now has a better hit reaction. The opponent will stay in place before they go flying away. This is so that it is easier to DHC from in general. Nice quality of life change right there. And speaking of quality of life, his level 3 also got a buff to its health recovery. As you can see, you get quite a lot of blue life back now when you hit the level 3. And not just that, if you DHC into his level 3, it now tracks the opponent to make sure that it no longer randomly whiffs. Very nice quality of life change right there. Nappa, another character who was considered quite the menace in the previous patch, has not received any considerable nerfs. Instead, he got some pretty unique buffs. Let's take a look. Starting with his LLL. He is, again, another character that is joining the team of anti-air auto combos. J2H has been pretty substantially buffed. If you do his J2H now, his go-to combo tool, it now can be canceled into any of his standing H buttons. I'm sure this is going to have a profound effect on his routing, and it's probably going to set up some pretty crazy mix-up potential for him. His 5S also got buffed. It comes out faster and has better hit stun. Android 16. 16 has received numerous buffs to many parts of his kit, starting with his auto combo. He now has a new follow-up, much like other characters. If you press forward and L at the end of his auto combo, Instead of whiffing, there'll be a delay, which will allow him to actually grab the opponent and jump scare them with a command grab. 5H now comes out faster. It's just a faster armor move, which is going to be strong in a lot of situations. The same is true for J2H. This is also faster. Is 5S. Not only does it have better tracking, the tracking, if you take a look here, is pretty crazy. Like, the arms just heat seek on the opponent now, so it's going to be kind of hard for them to get away from his neutral pokes, but it's also going to beat more ki blasts because it has better projectile durability. As you can see, it passed right through Labcoat's fireball, so this grappler is about to be more scary from a distance because his JS is the exact same way. But not forgetting his grappler roots, the medium command grab, they increased the movement distance, so yeah, basically medium command grab is full screen now. Hell's Flash is level 3, now has increased grab range. So if you're even slightly close to the opponent now, you can jump scare them with a command grab. And finishing up with his assists, his A assist comes out faster and is more plus on block. His B assist got the same buffs as his S. It has better tracking and the arms will just eat through other ki blasts, which is absolutely insane. And his C assist, the armor starts up a lot faster now. Lord Yamcha. Yamcha is a fan favorite character who a lot of players want to see buffed as much as possible. And thankfully in this patch, people are going to get their wish. He received some fantastic quality of life buffs, starting with his 5L. They sped up the startup. Now, finally, after 7 years, he has a 6-frame L. Having a fast L is important for all sorts of offensive situations, and he is now a character who can get his offense going in a much easier way, especially considering he has a 4LL that he can stagger. This stagger just became a lot stronger. Combine that with the buff to his 2L. His 2L has reduced pushback. This is 0 on block, but it used to push the opponent extremely far away. Not anymore. When you do 2L, 2L, you can see they barely move. You do a single L, they don't move at all. So now if you use this in conjunction with his lunging 5L, he actually gets really decent stagger pressure where he can like use the fact that he lunges at the opponent to his advantage. Very, very cool. 2M was also buffed. It now has faster startup. It used to start up in 10 frames, now starts up in 8. 8 frames is definitely fast enough for him to get mix-ups. 8 frames is perfect for super dash mix, so he's gonna have even more ways of opening up the opponent now. Speaking of opening up the opponent, they finally did it. They basically reverted the nerf from all the way back in like season 2. They sped up the cross-up Wolfang. It now comes out faster than before, so his signature mix-up is once again going to be dangerous. That's not all. They went ahead and buffed the rest of his Wolfang Fist. The L follow-up right here builds more meter. The M follow-up does a lot more damage. And then the L Ender does a ground bounce. This is really good because now when he's at maximum hit stun, you no longer have to worry about the combo randomly dropping. Because of the ground bounce, you'll always be able to end your combo with super. For the M Ender, they went ahead and gave it more block stun. It is now safe at -4. And then the EX version of Wolfang Fist got a buff to where if you've already used your smash, it can still activate a wall bounce. And then lastly, probably the most important, they buffed the Tornado, finally. Now, if the opponent again is at maximum hit stun, the Tornado will actually connect without dropping. Right there, before the patch, they definitely would have spun out. But again, now they actually stay in the entire animation of the tornado. That is a huge quality of life buff. Tenshinhan, the human shotgun, has received multiple buffs. He's received buffs to his neutral, his offense, and even his overall damage capability, if you can believe it. Starting with his LLL, it is now safer on block at -4. His JS is whiff cancelable into the Donpa, so you can fish with this at neutral, and whether or not the Ki Blast hits the opponent, you can still cancel it into a beam. Pretty strong. For his offense, the knee drop is all around faster. The L version's 23, M is 25, H is 22, so this overhead attack is faster than before. The chop now has a couple of buffs to it as well. If you connect the L version, it forces a crouch and gives you a free combo. You can actually use this after a jump in for a third or double overhead mix-up. Pretty scary. The H version is just straight up faster now. A whopping 15 frames, so that is just completely unreactable. Basically, if he gets near you and he goes for that, you're probably gonna get hit. Chaozu has also been buffed. If you do the Chaozu freeze, it starts up faster and you also recover faster. So it's overall just all around more plus. Tri-Beam. This one I'm not sure why. I don't know why they would do this, but Tri-Beam is now safe on block. Neutral. Pretty crazy. Taking a look at his assists really quickly, his B assist comes out faster. So that's just like when he's on screen, the telekinesis is just faster than before. But the showstopper, we had to end on this. If you haven't seen this, he got a limit break buff as if he needed it. If Tenshinhan is in limit break, and let me remind you that in limit break, you gain meter passively. Don't forget that, you gain meter passively now. So Tenshinhan, who is one of the best anchors in the game, builds meter passively now like everybody else. And when he's in limit break, he can now cancel Farewell Tien into his level 3. Man, so yeah, basically just instant death. If you have the meter for it, and you probably will, because again, you just gain meter for free. If Tenshinhan hits you, you're probably dead. Adult Gohan. Adult Gohan in this patch got some, let's just say, interesting buffs. Starting with his 5S, it is faster, so this will help him control the neutral a little bit better. His 3S got a strange buff, 3S and 1S. You can now cancel this into an H. Looks very weird. This looks like something out of a mod, but yeah, you can now cancel it and kind of rebound back towards the opponent. EX Legs got a buff to the non-cinematic version. Cinematic version still does the wall bounce, but if you already used your smash, they will still fly really far away. This is so that he can still get combo opportunities when he is at a high level. Speaking of being leveled up, his back attack now has a unique ground bounce effect if you do it off of the full auto combo. So they will bounce off the ground so that, again, if you're at a higher level, you can cancel from there into special moves or call assist for further pickups. The L and M version of Potential Unleashed now has a new knockback animation. As you can see, the opponent kind of twirls away, giving him more frame advantage than before. But the most jaw-dropping change, one of the most shocking buffs, I have to say, in this entire patch, is what they did to his level 7 transformation. If you are at level 7 with Gohan, or if you reach level 7, Potential Unleashed gets a new stun animation. That is just guaranteed. You can do L and M or H and S, and yeah, the opponent will fly and bounce off the ground and slide off the floor. This is so that you can combo off of it. Yes, this is real. This is a real fighting game. Not only that, you can cancel this into special moves. Bonkers. Hit. This is another fan favorite character, and absolutely, in my opinion, one of the winners of the patch. Hit has not only been buffed, he's been reworked. He pretty much functions completely differently in terms of hit confirms and just combo options in general. Let's go ahead and break it down. Starting with his LLL. They buffed the hit reaction to this, meaning the loop is officially back. Moving on to his 5S, the counter. It is now fully invincible once it has been activated. Opponents can no longer try to react to it and interrupt it. It is just invincible all the way through the animation. Not just that, you can now activate it as long as the opponent is in hit stun. So this gives him brand new combo opportunities. This is also true for JS. The air counter will now activate if the opponent is in any sort of hit stun. This gives him access to a lot of different combo routes. His stance attacks have also been buffed. Both the M follow-up and the H follow-up will freeze time if, you guessed it, the opponent is in hit stun. So because of this, it's just going to be way easy for him to confirm and finish combos basically anywhere on screen. His command grab now comes out faster. It's 25 frames, the speed of an actual command grab now. This goes hand in hand with one of the buffs we showed off earlier. If you do like one of his loops, for example, it's even easier now to get his OTG afterward. But that's not the only buff to the grab, it's also projectile invul part way through the animation. And if you do the charged version, it increases the damage. Following in that line of thought of being better against projectiles, his command dash, both backwards and forwards, are both frame 1 invincible to projectiles. And on the assist side of things, they buffed his B assist. It starts up faster. And his C assist, they buffed the invincibility. The invincibility starts up sooner and lasts longer. Goku Blue is another character with mostly quality of life changes and one significant buff that should completely change the way he's played. Starting with his LLL, the third hit of it is now faster. So those of you that like poking with this as an overhead, you have a higher chance of catching people off guard because it comes out just a little bit faster. Also, his 2S starts up faster. So if you are trying to go for these mix-ups or just poking your opponent from afar, this comes out much faster than before. The JS also has reduced recovery. So if you're using this as like a poke to come in on the opponent, it's extremely plus now because you no longer have recovery when you hit the ground. His JS had its recovery reduced, making it much more plus when you jump in on the opponent with it. Both the L and M version of his shoulders have reduced recovery on whiff. So if you are poking with these, you are going to recover faster than before, making it harder for the opponent to punish you. This is also true for his dive kick. His dive kick on both the L and M versions have less recovery. You can see as soon as he hits the ground, you can just start moving again. And for his game changer buff, they buffed his instant transmission. If you do either the forward or backwards version, you can now hold the button down and he doesn't do an attack. So now, just like Goku Black, he can teleport directly to your location from anywhere on screen, making it very hard for you to get away from him at neutral in any way. For assist buffs, they buffed his A assist. It has better knockback on hit. Because of that little bounce, it's easier to run up and get your combo. Vegeta Blue, easily one of the strongest characters in the previous patch, has once again been buffed. Starting with his auto combo. If you do 6L for the Ender, he has a little delayed version. That's the normal version right there. But the delayed version is plus, so he gets to keep his turn. His dash kick, all versions of it now have reduced recovery when you do the grounded version. So when you do the grounded version, you see -5, -5, but shockingly the full screen version, -3. That is pretty scary. Niagara Pummel, his level 1 super. This got several changes, most notably the follow-up animation, if you let it play out, does more damage now. So if you let that play out instead of doing a combo on your own, you get more damage. But if you do cancel it, he now has a level 2. If you cancel the Niagara Pummel by holding the button down, you can then cancel the hold into a Gallic gun. And most likely to go hand in hand with that buff, if you cancel into Final Flash, it is now a tracking level 3. So you're basically guaranteed to never miss it. Put that all together and Blue Vegeta now has a level 7 super. Sheesh! Beerus, we've reached another character that is easily one of the biggest winners of the patch. His buffs are actually completely and utterly ludicrous. Let's take a look. Starting off right away with just one of the most shocking buffs that he got, his orbs. His orbs have had their clash level increased. Clash level is what happens when two projectiles meet. They literally clash. So now when he has an orb out, it will beat low-level Ki Blasts. Mid to low-level Ki Blasts outright lose, meaning he can basically just stand here and you are forced to either commit to a beam or a super dash. His zoning is now going to be monstrous. For his buttons, 5H got buffed. It now has less recovery. So on whiff, it recovers faster, and on block, it is -5. JL is faster. This might seem like a weird buff, but the purpose of this is to make his loops easier. Now when you go for that jump L in the middle of the loop, it's a lot easier to snag them before they fall out because the 5L comes out a little bit faster. It's not all buffs, however, though. He did get a very, very deserved nerf, his DP. His DP is actually punishable now. Before, for some reason, it was a guess. You could do DP if the person tried to punish you, you could DP again. But no, as you can see, it is actually fully punishable now. He has to actually be careful, like every other character in the game, to not just throw out DP. And last but not least, the Showstopper. A buff so crazy it honestly looks like a glitch. He can now summon his orbs in the air. So now you do not have to be grounded to do his best move. You can summon his orb jail in the sky where it's harder for people to reach you. This is most likely going to lead to a lot of new combo routing, especially like in sparking and stuff like that. All this stuff together, man, this cat is buffed. Goku Black. This is another character that was considered to be very, very strong in the last patch. And in this patch, he got even more buffs, mostly quality of life to just make him more consistent and a little bit easier to play. Starting with his 2M, the range has been increased when the opponent is in hit stun. So this is designed to help you hit combos when the opponent is far away, specifically off of his dive kicks. Probably his most notable buff is God Slicer is faster. The L, M, and H versions all come out faster, and because of this, he finally has a mid-screen meterless knockdown. 7 years later, you can finally knock down no meter required mid-screen. The H version also had its distance and momentum buffed. When you hit the H version, you now get insane momentum, so you can be right on top of the opponent as soon as they get up. The medium dive kick got a buff to the non-cinematic version, so if you already used your smash, it now causes a ground bounce. This is to help you get pickups with assists. The H version also had its knockback adjusted. This combined with the 2M is supposed to give you more consistent combos mid-screen. His level 1 is a reversal super, but it was notably very slow, so they sped it up. It should work better as a reversal tool now that it comes out a lot faster. Majin 21. This is another character that people have been heavily requesting buffs for ever since she got nerfed. She used to rule the meta for a good long while, but after she got buffed, she kind of fell off. It seems like she might be back because she got some of the most buffs. Possibly she did get the most buffs of any character in this patch. Let's go ahead and take a look. Starting with her 3M, it now comes out faster. It's a whopping 15 frames even from full screen, so you're gonna have to definitely watch out for that at neutral. 5S, if you do it from a distance, it now has a new stun animation. They fly up and then float down slowly. This allows you to actually combo 5S into itself. Not only that, you can combo it into a beam and convert it. She also got her 2S buffed. One of her best zoning tools is faster now. It comes out quicker, and they added a 3S variant, so you can jump towards the opponent or away from the opponent. It's your choice. And if that weren't enough, it also has momentum. If you're moving forward and you do 3S, you can jump over them and go for mix-ups. And much like Goku Black, she got something she always wanted, a mid-screen sliding knockdown. She no longer has to vanish or use an assist. She just needs half a bar, and she can actually get a slide knockdown anywhere on screen, something that 21 players have always wanted. Speaking of something 21 players have wanted for a long time, her level 3. They buffed the knockdown on it. It is now plus enough for her to get a safe jump, even mid-screen. She gets a free safe jump here, and the opponent has to take it. They no longer get to get up and mash. Not just that, they also buffed the health recovery on this. So when you use this as a reversal or just in a combo, you get a ton of health back on top of filling up with steals and getting a safe jump. So this went from being a questionable level 3 to a incredibly strong level 3. Speaking of move steals, they have all been buffed. Every single one of them. That's why I said she's probably the most buffed character, because every single move steal that she has is buffed. Starting with consecutive energy blast, you can now control it. You can hold directions up and down and back and forth to go where you want. If you do this up close, you can make it extremely plus. Homing energy blast, she now shoots 2 of them like Piccolo. Teleport has less recovery, so you can act out of it faster to get better mix-up potential. Solar Flare has increased hit stop. It is now extremely plus on block. Her command grab, if you can believe it, now hits grounded crouching opponents, so she effectively has a free jump scare. Explosive energy blast got sped up. Now when you do this attack, she just immediately just slams the blast on the ground. And last but not least, her barrier is frame 1 invincible. Base Goku, probably the #1 most requested character for buffs ever. Hopefully people will be happy this time because he got some insane buffs. Starting with his auto combo, he has a new ender. If you do 6L instead of 5L at the end, it goes from being -4 to +2. Now he has his own plus frames by doing an auto combo. 2M now has less recovery on whiff and on block. As you saw right there, it was -1 at tip range, -2, but no matter where you do it, it is safe, and even if you whiff it, it recovers a lot faster than before. 2S now tracks the opponent. This is one of his best neutral tools. And no matter where the opponent is, whether you do the 3S version or the 2S version, it will now track them if they're anywhere near the key blast that you did. Medium elbow is now plus. So once again, he has ways of continuing his pressure without giving up his turn. As long as the opponent blocks this, he has the ability to just keep on applying pressure. His elbows got buffed, starting with the medium version. It is now plus on block. It is +2, meaning you do not lose your turn. You get to keep on attacking even though you just did a meterless special move. The H version, this is also plus, and it had its invincibility buffed. It is extremely invul now. Probably the single most requested change I've ever seen for base Goku. They buffed his beam. When the opponent gets hit by it, you can see they kind of freeze in place for a moment. You can see when you do the beam, they kind of freeze in place for a moment. That is so you can more consistently get his beam follow-up. But the most shocking of all is that they buffed him as an anchor. Again, I've talked about this many times, but anchors in general in this game are extremely scary in this patch because if you look at the bottom, you see his meter is just building on its own. So a base Goku in Limit Break with meter building on its own is scary enough, but if that wasn't scary enough, they went ahead and buffed Kaioken. I'm gonna go ahead and crank up my meter here. If you do Kaioken in Limit Break, you now get access to all variants of the finisher. And you can combo that into Genki Dama. So basically, don't ever get hit by an anchor-based Goku. No matter what you do, do not let him hit you. Base Vegeta, easily one of the most popular point characters in this game. He got some pretty good buffs to most of his kit. Starting with his LLL, they increase the damage of the third hit. So whether you use it as an anti-air or in a combo, it's just gonna do more damage now. Arguably his best tool, his 5S, has been buffed. It comes out way faster. You see from up close, it's a whopping 7 frames. And from full screen, it is 20. So his zoning is going to be a lot stronger. Not to mention, it also does more damage. And the final hit has been buffed. It actually launches them in the air for follow-ups. To tie into that, they sped up the speed of his knee drop. So knee drop starts up faster to coincide with the S buff, and it looks like this. If you do the medium version of the knee drop, they do a new bouncing animation. That coincides with the buff to his OTG. His OTG now comes out faster. So if you put all of that together, you get this. Continuing on, his 2S and his 3S now count as 2 different attacks, so that it helps him not reach the combo limit. His rocket kicks have both been buffed. The light and medium versions both start up faster. This is likely to coincide with the perfect parry. If you perfect reflect, you can actually punish off of perfect reflect with his light rocket kick now. His go-to projectile, the disc, now has more block stun. You can see from a distance it is +8. Very good. And moving on lastly to the assist, they buffed all of his assists. His A assist is more plus on block. His B assist has a longer attack duration. And his C assist does more damage. Z Broly. Once upon a time, he used to terrorize the meta in this game, and based on the numerous buffs he received, it might be that time again. His LLL got the same treatment as some other characters. If you hold forward, it delays the command grab and actually sets it up to jump scare people on block. His 5M has been buffed. It goes way further, lasts longer, and recovers faster. So it's safe on block, lunges, is very active, and had its scaling buff. So it's actually a medium starter. If you start a combo with this, it's gonna hurt. This is also true for his 2M. It also got its scaling enhanced. His 5H has better recovery on block. You can see if you don't charge it, it is safe. If you do charge it, it charges faster than before and is plus on block. So now he has a way of keeping his turn while also threatening his command grab. His Lariat, his most powerful move, is now safe on block from all distances and all strengths. It doesn't matter which one you do, they are all safe, so you can basically just throw this highly armored move out and you'll be okay. And saving the craziest for last, his barrier now auto builds meter. The longer the barrier's up, the more meter he builds, and yes, this does stack with limit break if you can believe it. He also got a few assist buffs. His B assist comes out much faster than before. Basically instantly. 19 frames is instant in the world of assists. Super, super fast, lasts a long time, and you can also control it by holding back. This is another one of those attacks that look like a modded move, but it's very real. It looks very silly. I don't know why you would even want him that high up. You can kind of control it if you let go of back very quickly. It's weird, but yeah, if you want to, you can control it. Bizarre. Zamasu, my buddy, the Lord. He has received both some buffs and a slight nerf. Starting with the buffs, his 5M has its recovery reduced. You can see that he recovers almost instantly, and on block, it's only -2. -1 from a distance. 0 right there, so yeah, his best button somehow got better. 2M comes out faster, so he can hit you low from very far away, even more quickly than before. 5H travels further. This is gonna help with his anti-reflect setups. 5S got a pretty nice buff. It is now chainable. He's no longer a single Ki Blast character. As long as the opponent blocks it or gets hit by it, you can do up to 3 Ki Blasts. Medium Slicer travels further now. It now goes full screen. Wall of Light. This is a big one. He now can control Wall of Light by pressing either up or down. If you do Wall of Light regularly, it will retain the properties it got in the last patch, where the 2 blasts fire separately. It goes boom, boom. If you hold down, however, you get the original type of Wall of Light where they fire at the same time. This is a massive buff because in the last patch, by giving him this new Wall of Light that fires separately, it killed his mix-up game. He could no longer do tick throws. But now, if you do the down version, it's back. But not just that, if you do the up version, he gets a brand new version where the 2 shots are massively delayed. This makes it even more plus, and you create a tick throw trap with this one. By the time you go for the tick throw, the second shot goes off and it covers the gap. So if they try to mash on you, there's a good chance they're gonna get shot. And if they try to jump late, they're gonna get zapped and brought back down with you in plus frames. So whoever made this change, they understood the assignment. They know what Zamasu's looking for, and I'm very thankful for this buff. Now for his nerf. This was something that everybody was complaining about, so it was bound to happen eventually. They nerfed flight mode. They reduced the time by a pretty considerable amount. Yeah, as you can see, you can't fly for very long anymore, just a couple seconds. So yeah, that does hurt him a bit. I mean, he still has access to flight. It's still good. He's just not going to be able to run away as long as he could before. So honestly, this is sort of a fair nerf. You know, even as a Zamasu main, I can't really complain about this because yeah, flight mode is insanely powerful. I mean, there's no way to really stop it. So I understand why they had to do that. It did need to get touched up a little bit. But that's not it. It's sort of a meet you in the middle. Because they nerfed it, they also went ahead and buffed the teleport. So first of all, they brought the option select back. You can press forward super dash to teleport again. In the previous patch, they accidentally took it away. You had to press down forward super dash, or you just had to do forward forward, which was both were just ugly. But now it's just back, forward, and super dash. You get the teleport again, thank goodness. But that's not all. They buffed the teleport. You can now double teleport. So this is obviously going to create some pretty nasty mix-up scenarios. You can even go back and forward. You can even go back and forward, or forward and back. Crazy. So his mobility went way up, even though his flight mode time went down. And closing out with his assists were pretty heavily buffed, like heavily buffed. His A assist they added a hitbox to the swing animation. He swings his arm when he does his beam, and that swing actually interacts with the opponent now. So you can see it's 2 hits. Instead of 1, it's the swing and then the beam. So now instead of being plus 30, it is now a whopping plus 46. This beam assist is a mix-up assist now, which is insane. And on hit, it's super easy to convert because it's 2 hits. And then his B assist, the quick slash, had its distance improved. It now goes almost full screen. Bardock, Mr. Season 1 himself, this is yet another character who for many seasons people have been basically begging for buffs because they feel that he is incredibly power crept. Hopefully with these many buffs that he received, people will no longer feel that way. Starting with his 5M, he has reduced recovery. So on whiff, it recovers faster. And then on block, it is now safe. It's -2. He's already a stagger monster, so being able to stagger a medium is bonkers. 2M now comes out faster. It is a 9-frame low. So again, his stagger game is already strong. It just got stronger, and it's gonna help with his mix-ups off of assists. His lariats have been buffed. If you do the L version in the air, it has better hit stun. It should be easier now to convert it into assist calls. The H version has the hit stun heavily buffed and the knockback reduced. So when you do it, they kind of fly up in the air and fall, meaning you can combo it into itself, which looks silly, but is also kind of cool. You can even take it up into the air and just keep going. He literally is just a human lariat now. The next buff is something that's been requested since basically the beginning of the game. His spin attack is now projectile invul. Bardock's biggest weakness has always been getting zoned, but now with this, he can actually fight back against ki blasts and beams. And not just that, each spin has been buffed. The L version builds more meter on hit. The M version builds more meter and has a higher ground bounce, so you can get better combo opportunities. And then the H version obviously doesn't build meter, but it has also a new, better ground bounce animation. The Gut Punch, his signature stagger extension tool, has been buffed. It travels further and builds more meter on block. So now even if you stagger from far away, you can come back in with plus frames, and while you're staggering and doing pretty considerable chip, you're also building meter. So even if you don't immediately get the hit, the fact that you're building so much meter and doing so much chip is definitely putting a lot of pressure on the opponent. Riot Javelin, they changed the input and the trajectory of it. If you press down or up, you can angle it by holding that direction. They also buffed the first part of his level 2, Saiyan Spirit. It now has more hit stun to make sure that you don't drop the Riot Javelin. And on the assist side of things, they buffed his B assist. It travels further now. It's almost back to the original Bardock B. Vegetto, public enemy #1, potentially the most hated character in this entire game. And once again, he has been, no, I'm just kidding. They nerfed him. Thank God they nerfed him. They nerfed him. But he did get a few buffs though. It's not entirely nerfed. They nerfed the dumb stuff, but they gave him a couple of new things. So they gave him the thing that most other auto combo command grab characters got. If you do 6L, it's delayed so that you can actually grab them out of block. So he has that now. He has the jump scare. And for some reason they gave him a 3H. I guess they considered his 2H to be kind of weak, so they gave him a 3H. It kind of lunges forward. I guess this is to help with his combo routes and his, anti-super dash pokes. So yeah, And a slight buff, they also gave him the ability to chain 5S into 6S. If he does 5S, he can do 6S as well, I guess, to like help him with his block strings, but 5S has to connect. You can go the other way too, but I'm not sure why you would do that. But yeah, you can also do 6S, 5S. Seems like a good way to get killed unless I'm missing something, but yeah, you can do that too. But for the nerfs, 6S has been nerfed. It has more recovery now, especially on whiff. They also adjusted the damage scaling. If you start a combo with this, it does not do as much damage anymore. Thank the Lord. This next one, I can't believe it's actually real, but they did it. Legs have been nerfed. They have enhanced recovery. This is one of the first times they've ever done that, where a lariat has more recovery, and it's on Vegetto. You can see how sluggish it is. He is insanely punishable if he whiffs this, so he's actually gotta be careful now not to just throw this out and whiff it, because yeah, you can see it's incredibly punishable. And not just that, if you do it on block, it's also punishable. It's -7. All versions are minus. So yeah, he has to be careful with these. If he wants to do it, he needs to call an assist. He can no longer just throw the legs out and hope for the best. And lastly, they also nerfed the EX command grab. Specifically, its damage scaling has been nerfed. As you can see, you no longer get completely deleted hit for 75% anymore when you get hit by these things. Thank goodness. That was insane that he had that kind of damage off of that kind of situation. Android 17, another extremely notorious character in the previous patch. A lot of people were hoping that he would get touched up, and I have to inform you that this man got away with murder. No nerfs. They actually buffed him. His rekkas are faster. If you do second gear, starts up faster, and second gear L also starts up faster. So his rekka pressure is just gonna be a little bit better. And his fake out, specifically the air version, if you do EX, no landing recovery. So now he's going to be able to mix even more than before, because you're gonna be able to go from air to ground. And yeah, I don't know how you're supposed to block that. Cooler received some pretty healthy buffs in this patch. His neutral, anti-zoning, and pressure should all be much stronger going forward. Starting with his 5S, it's just straight up faster. You can see how fast it comes out from up close. It is a whopping 9 frames. And even from pretty far away, it's 17. So this is just a good ranged poke. The same is true for his JS. JS comes out very, very fast. Again, good way to poke the opponent very quickly. 3H, the God button, the button that beats projectiles, assists, and airborne moves, had its distance increased. It now is full screen. His dive kicks are all buffed, starting with the light version. It is plus on block, so you no longer have to spend meter or anything. Anytime the opponent blocks the light dive kick, he gets to keep his turn. Medium dive, it is also plus. It is plus 8, which is insanely high. And then the H dive comes out faster. It is now 22 frame startup, meaning it is much more likely to catch an opponent off guard. His DP's also got a couple of buffs. His light DP has less recovery, basically almost no landing recovery. You can see that when he lands, he just lands and he can start moving again immediately. And the HDP travels further. This is gonna make it just a better reversal. You can see even from way back here, it's still connecting. So when you feel like getting the opponent off of you, there's just a lot more threatening. And when it comes to assists, his 3H or his B assist got the full screen treatment. This could now very easily be one of the best assists in the entire game. Jiren has been buffed. They went ahead and gave him a lot of quality of life changes to basically enhance what's already strong about him, while also giving him some new tools to play with. Starting with his auto combo, if you do 5L, 6L, you actually extend the range of his auto combo. This is the normal range, and this is the extended range. His LLL, the third part of it, had its damage increased. His 5M had its recovery reduced. This is a fantastic medium starter poke, so the fact that it has less recovery is just a net positive. His 5S is also much safer now. It has enhanced block stun, so from any range, it is now safe. His stagger game has been buffed because now he has a plus move if you do his tackle. His stagger game has also been buffed. If you do his tackle in your string, instead of being -2, you can now hold the button down and it becomes +4. So this stagger monster has his own plus move. Pretty scary. Not only that, Jiren players' favorite thing is to do the medium counter whiff to keep their turn and sort of like trick the opponent's eye. That's now easier because they reduced the recovery of this move. So the devs definitely know how people like to play Jiren, and they're basically telling you, here you go guys, enjoy. But his biggest buff by far is what they did to his projectile counter. If you do his projectile counter, it has a lot of neat new tricks. First of all, if you just hold the button down, he auto completes the animation whether you counter something or not. And if it does connect, you can super dash cancel it. So he no longer needs to vanish or spend meter there to get a pickup off of his projectile counter. That is insanely strong. And last but not least, the counter will auto activate if the opponent is in hit stun. This will no doubt give him way more combo options and way more conversion options. Videl, in this patch, she received some very, very healthy buffs to her overall game plan, especially her neutral. I feel is going to be way stronger going forward. However, I am sad to say that she did get one massive nerf. Let's break it down. Starting with her reflect, or should I say her dodge. She has been compensated. Videl is the only character in the game that cannot perfect reflect. So to make up for that, her dodge now gives her meter. So if you get the perfect parry with her dodge, as you can see, got a little bit of meter there. So next up, she got a bunch of buffs to Saiyaman. Basically, Gohan has his glasses on. So she has several new inputs. Her 5S, you can now do as a 6S, and Gohan will come out in the air now. This will hit tall characters and it will anti-air them as well. This lets you immediately get in from pretty far away. This applies to the JS as well. If you can do JS with the normal angle, or you can hold up and Gohan will fly way further and target opponents on the other side of the screen in that very popular bottom right-hand angle. Also, 2S has been buffed. This attack will now target the opponent and track them wherever they are on screen. And last but not least, the J2S, you can change Gohan's trajectory by holding 3S instead. So this is the part where things get contentious. Whether or not you think this is a buff or a nerf is up to you, but the properties of her JH and her J2H have been changed. So if you do either of these after a JS, she has what they call a new trajectory. So now after a JS, if you do JH, she will lunge forward in order to make contact with the opponent. In the corner, this supposedly is supposed to make her loops more easy to do and more consistent. Not only that, JS itself comes out faster, so that's supposed to help her with her loops as well. Speaking of things that are supposed to help her in combos, the elbow now causes a ground bounce when you do the medium or H version. This will help you with extensions and making sure you get your supers. Speaking of supers, her flash kick has been buffed. It's invincible for longer through the animation and it starts up faster. But this brings us to her nerf, and it's a pretty big one. They nerfed the counter super. For when the counter super was activated, Saiyaman comes out, he does this little dance, you have to watch it, you have no choice but to watch it as he steals your meter. That is no longer the case if you combo into it. If the opponent is in hit stun and you do it, Saiyaman does the punch, but he does the dance in real time. This is a pretty considerable nerf for multiple reasons. So reason number one is kind of obvious. This can be interrupted. You can't leave the screen and you can't DHC either. If you DHC, that also counts as an interruption and you don't get the level up. So you have to let the full animation play out in the background, and Gohan has to finish the dance, but he does not steal their meter. And while he's dancing, obviously you can't call him. So this is a pretty big nerf, and it's a massive trade-off for the power of the level 1. Because I mean, it's a level 1 that does about as much damage as a level 3. You know, it's really strong. You know, at least does as much as a level 2. So that's the trade-off now. You still get the full animation if you do it as a counter, but if you do it in a combo, sadly, the days of making people watch Gohan dance are over. You gotta be careful not to get hit while that's going on, and you cannot use him or leave the screen. So yeah, pretty huge nerf. GT Goku is a character that's had a long, rocky road. He went from being one of the strongest ever to being extremely mediocre and then somewhere in the middle. But now he's getting a lot of buffs that are kind of trying to revert him back to how he was when he first released. Starting with his auto combo. The second part of it has reduced recovery. So if whether you whiff it or it's on block, it's just better. It's -2 now. So he barely loses his turn. This makes this long reaching auto combo a good stagger button. Not only that, he got the auto combo grab treatment. If you hold forward, they'll delay the grab and actually use it as a command grab. 5H is faster and has less recovery. You can see it's safe on block. 3H, he now has a better 2H, less likely to lose in anti-air situations. 5S travels further now. This is one of his biggest weaknesses, that he doesn't have a ki blast, but now his 5S actually acts as a pseudo ki blast. Not only that, you can now chain it on hit and on block. You can do it up to 3 times in a row. The jumping version also deflects ki blast now. His 2S has been sped up, so now his low attack that he can stagger with is even faster. His beam got a very useful buff. In the previous patch, they buffed it to where he can run with it, but it was kind of useless because if you ran past the opponent, he shot in the wrong direction. Not anymore. He now instantly turns around when you let go of the button. So now if you actually do run past somebody, you can cross them up with a beam. His lariats were buffed. They generally just recover faster. And the medium version travels further. Nearly full screen. And then something they took away from him many years ago now. This was years ago they took this away. His Super Spirit Bomb now has its damage back. It now does tremendous damage, so it is once again a powerful meter dump super. Speaking of things they're taking away, is A assist. It's finally back. This was the king of assists. When this assist was around, it dominated the entire game. Every Japanese player played this character strictly for the assist, and that is of course GTA. It's fully back. They gave it back its speed. It still has its block stun and it still has its hit stun. So yeah, the king of assists has returned. Janemba. Janemba's a character that most would agree definitely doesn't really need any buffs, but he got some nonetheless. He got some pretty good quality of life buffs that should make his strengths even stronger. Starting with his LLL, it now travels faster, so if you're trying to throw somebody off guard with this, you have a little bit better of a chance of hitting him with the cross-up because it comes out a little bit faster. 2-2-S, one of the most devious moves in the entire game. If it connects with the opponent, it now stuns them for longer, so it's easier to get your combo. His sword super now starts up faster, a whopping 11 frames. This will basically make sure that you never miss it as a combo ender. The spear super also got buffed. This is a wacky one. It is now completely safe on block. Due to the enhanced block stun, from any distance, it is now plus. So you get to keep your turn, and reminder that this is a reversal, so you have a get off of me that is safe. You can throw it out, and if you're wrong, they can't punish you. Also, if you are missing a character, you can DHC into this, so that means you can do safe tags if you have Janemba behind you. And on the subject of having Janemba behind you, they buffed his assists. His B assist comes out faster and reaches further. Almost full screen now. And I cannot believe it, but they actually went ahead and buffed his A assist. It starts up even faster than before. It now starts up in 25 frames, meaning there is literally no escape from this assist. With that kind of speed, it doesn't matter where you go, it's just going to immediately track you and lock you down anywhere on screen. Gogeta Blue, a character who needs absolutely no introduction. He is by far the most used competitive character in the history of this game. And in this patch, he really did not get anything notable in my opinion. Starting with his J2H, he got a strange buff here where if you do J2H, you can cancel it into a grounded 2H. I'm not sure if that's actually supposed to enhance his combo game. Let me know in the comments. I really am not sure what that is really meant to do, but his light DP, they also enhanced the knockback on it. So if you use this, and I guess if you want to knock them into an assist, it's just easier now. And then his C assist has been sped up. Comes out a little faster. So yeah, as you can see, not really much to talk about with Gogeta Blue, but of course he's not really a character who needed anything at all. If anything, he's really lucky that he didn't get nerfed. Super Broly, also known as Super Buddy. This is a character that people didn't have a lot of faith in for a while, but opinions have changed over time because basically every patch he gets buffed more and more, and this patch again is no different. In this patch, in my opinion, he is mega buffed. I feel like he is one of the big winners. His buffs are crazy. Starting with his 5L, less recovery. This is a highly requested change. People hate how sluggish his buttons feel. 5L now has less recovery, so it should help with that sluggish feeling. It's even safe now. 5M also had its recovery reduced. It is safe on block, and it goes even further than before. 2M also had its frame data improved. It is now -1 on block if you do the stomps. Can't believe it. Heavy has been buffed. If you do the charge version, also safe, and the stun on hit has been improved. This is supposed to go hand in hand with the buff to his headbutt. If you do headbutt, that is now full screen. Put that together with the new headbutt and you get his projectiles have also been buffed. 5S is faster now, and the final hit launches. And because it launches, they also buffed his 2S to come out faster, so you can put these together now. And of course, you can super dash that into a combo. And speaking of combos, his JS hitbox has been expanded. This is, of course, once again, to help with his combo routing. But the showstopper is absolutely his final two changes, and that is the buff to his grabs. Super Broly is now finally an actual grappler. They sped up his command grabs, if you can believe it, all these years later, and the light command grab, 22 frames, faster than before, and the H grab is a whopping 20 frames. So now these are actually going to work as real command grabs, and I don't need to tell you that if this connects, the opponent is dead. Kefla. In the previous version, Kefla was considered to be one of the secret top tiers, insanely strong, but one of those characters that nobody really plays despite being overwhelmingly powerful. So in this version, she didn't really get very many changes that were notable, just a few touch-ups. Starting with Gigantic Breaker. If you active tag this now, she will continue on even after you tag her out. Next, a quality of life buff. If the opponent is in hit stun, her level 3 starts up faster. This is to make sure that her level 3 doesn't randomly drop, because it is one of the slower level 3s since it's omnidirectional. It starts up pretty slow. So to counter that, it starts up fast if you're doing a combo. So all in all, not really any notable changes for Kefla, but again, in my opinion, she's not really a character who needed any changes. She is extremely strong just the way she is. UI Goku. UI Goku is a character who basically no one has been very happy with for a while. People have never felt that he's been strong ever since he originally got nerfed. He's kind of been in this weird middle ground for most of the game's life. But in this patch, I think that is again going to change, like I said about a couple of other characters already, because he got insanely buffed. They went ahead and buffed just about everything about him. So starting with his buttons, 5L, less recovery. So it is safe on block, only -3, and on whiff, you can just tell by looking at it, recovers very fast. 5M starts up faster, is still safe on block, so it's just a better poke. 2M, faster startup as well. 5S, faster startup once again. Reminder, this is a hit scan attack, meaning it hits the opponent instantly no matter where they are on screen. So the fact that this is faster is pretty spooky. The invincible flip. If you do the flip and you let it go and do the dash, you actually pass through the opponent now. The reversal flip, 214H, is now more invul. It's invul for longer through the animation, so it's going to be even harder for anyone to counter poke through this attack. 214L, this also got buffed. It now comes out faster. So now if you want to end a string into this, it starts up faster if you want to go for those plus frames. The airborne version of 236L now has better block stun. You can see it recovers insanely fast. Like the lower you do it to the ground, the less negative it is. 22S has also been buffed. It now has better block stun, starts up faster, and has even better hit stun. So all around, it should function way better now as an anti-air because it starts up so fast and it's actually safe. Speaking of 22S, you can now do 22S in the air, which will trigger Unrestrained Will. You can now do this without having to be knocked down. It's just a normal attack now. And if you hold the button, you can cross up with it to make it sort of a pseudo mix-up. All of his 236s are more invincible. If you do the L, M, or H, they just become invincible more quickly. And the H version specifically has longer invul frames during the animation. And last but not least, his biggest buff by far, and definitely his coolest buff, you can now do 6H on hit. So if the opponent is in any sort of hit stun, you can press 6H, and this is gonna be huge for his combo game. You can literally just really go crazy now. It even works off of 22S. Thanks to this, he's gonna have a way easier time converting. You can also do this with 22S in the air. And moving on to his assist, all three of them were buffed. His A assist is faster. His B assist has better block stun. And his C assist also comes out faster. Roshi. Roshi, in my opinion, has received some of the funniest buffs of this entire patch. Let's check it out. Starting with his 5M, they reduced the recovery. So it's going to recover a little faster on whiff. And on block, it is -5, meaning it is safe. His auto combo got a very unique buff. It is now whiff cancelable. If you whiff it, you can cancel it on whiff into a flip or a leap or other things. It is just, it acts like you're attacking the opponent no matter what you do. So yeah, you can do a lot with this. The third part of his auto combo has been buffed. It now builds a ton of meter. Now, this is when we get to the funny changes. This is what I meant when I said it was funny. Roshi is now the biggest anti-Ki Blast character in the game, period. He kind of was already, but now it's just unmistakable. He just laughs at Ki Blast. So, I'm just gonna list off all the things that are now Ki Blast invincible. LL. 5H. 2H, 3H, and JH. Almost his entire move list just completely ignores Ki Blast now. Not to mention, you can just do this. You can whiff LL, which is Ki Blast invul, and then still leap. They also buffed his offense by making his command grab a little bit faster. They also heavily buffed his combo game by buffing Thunder Shock Surprise. When you connect it, the opponent now bounces to you, so you very easily get the follow-up now. You no longer have to run up and time it. As long as you connect the Thunder Shock, the opponent falls right in front of you. And continuing on the buff to his combo game, 2M now creates a ground bounce. Thanks to this, now you don't need to worry about if your slide knockdown was used up. Let's say you do 22H, you can use 2M, and because of the ground bounce, you can always get your ender. Super Baby 2, widely considered to be one of, if not the best character of the last patch. So keeping that in mind, he did not really receive many buffs in this one. As a matter of fact, he is actually nerfed. Starting with his 2M, this is pretty much his only straight buff. They reduce the recovery, so it recovers faster. On block, it is safe at -5. That's good for his buttons. His 2L now causes a ground bounce. So this is a buff and a nerf. I kind of consider it more of a buff. You have a way of bringing them down into the combo that doesn't cost you very much hit stun. The negative of this, of course, is that he loses his reset. This was a very powerful reset tool, doing 2L, having them instantly recover, and then the Ki Blast coming back. So you lose a reset, but you gain new combo opportunities. So it's kind of a trade-off there. What's not a trade-off, however, is the nerf to his level 3. If you do level 3 and hold down, the really powerful left-right mix-up he got is gone. As you can see, the opponent gets up extremely fast. You're only plus 27, so at most you could probably get like a safe jump there, but you are no longer getting any sort of a mix-up. The baby level 3 mix is gone. But possibly to make up for that, they went ahead and buffed the monkey. The monkey super comes out insanely fast at 10 frames. It's basically like a DP now. So if you're feeling threatened and you just want to say, get off of me, boom, you can get somebody off of you really fast. So yeah, that works well as a reversal. Gogeta 4, definitely the least hated of the triple fusion squad. Over time, the hatred for this character has slowly gone down as the stocks of Blue Gogeta and Blue Vegetto went up. He kind of got left behind a little bit. That's not to say he's not strong. He's actually incredibly strong and incredibly dangerous. He got a few quality of life changes that are going to boost what's already really scary about him, and that is his up-close pressure game. So, starting with his medium auto combo. If you do medium auto combo, it now launches them. So you can do this and actually, so you can do this as like a starter and then extend it into an actual combo. They also went ahead and buffed his 5H. It now has more block stun on it. So if you cancel this into any of his special moves, it's gonna lock the opponent down more easily. And that goes hand in hand with his flip kick. The 214 series, these have all had their frame data improved. If you do the 236, if you do the 214 version, it is now 0 on block. So basically you can do this and you are left right in front of them at neutral, meaning his insanely powerful stagger is a huge threat. His 2L is also 0. So he can basically reset his pressure for free, and it's going to be very hard to challenge him because he can do this. It's hard to beat someone in a clash when they can just jab you to death, so him being +0 in your face is scary. On the defensive side of things, they made his DP faster. So if you're using it as a get off me, it starts up a little bit faster, so it should function a little bit better as a reversal tool. And then on the damage side of things, they went ahead and buffed the damage on his air super. As you can see, it does a lot more damage. So now, even without level ups, he actually has a powerful cash out option, which will highly benefit him since he is, again, a up-close stagger character. And last but not least, Labcoat 21. One of the most infamous characters of all time, a character who almost killed the game to the point where she had to be nerfed into the floorboards. And it seems now they are finally ready to sort of give her back some of her teeth, because in the last patch, she was nerfed pretty much so hard that she basically became worthless. She's kind of a worthless character, but they gave her just a little bit back, so she might be able to become somewhat of a threat again in this version. So starting with something that you can't really see right away, but her meter penalty. it has been decreased. So now she should be able to build meter much more normally like a normal character. If you don't know, she had the lowest meter build in the entire game. So it made her very hard to play because no matter what she did, she basically got like no meter at all. So just her being able to build meter again is huge. But to make sure that her meter build doesn't go out of control again, they specifically, and this is smart, they specifically reduced the meter build on all of her double hitting attacks. So her 5M, her 2M, and her JM all have reduced meter gain. So everything that hits twice has reduced meter gain. So basically they want the 2 hits to add up to 1 normal hit. So I think this will be good enough to stop her from being a meter monster like she was. Because before, that was one of the biggest problems, is she was just gaining way too much meter because everything was multi-hitting. But with this change, that shouldn't be a problem again. And the only buff she got is a bit more mix-up potential. They gave her the auto combo treatment, but not the same as other characters. They gave her literally the Videl treatment. If you hold forward on the second part of her auto combo, she'll delay her kick and it'll whiff over the opponent's head. This is only if they're crouching, keep in mind. If they're crouching, it'll whiff over their head, so that'll allow you to automatically grab them. So now she basically has a high-low because of the fact that she can do this, and she can do this. This is a character that you don't want to stand up against, so you're always going to be ducking because she has the most lows of any character in the game. So if you stand up, you could block the high there and stop her from command grabbing you, but that's very, very risky because, again, she can really go low. So that's a pretty big buff for her. And this brings us to the very final buff to discuss, and that is her barrier assist. They went ahead and buffed it. They said they adjusted where she appears. She appears even further in front of you, so I don't feel like this is a buff. Maybe it'll work and she will function better, but either way, this builds meter as well. So if her barrier assist actually works, then she'll be a lot better, because that's another reason people weren't using her, is because she had to use a C assist, and her A assist is a projectile, so it's just not good. So if this B assist actually ends up being a barrier that's usable, then she might make her way back into the rotation and people might start actually playing her again. And with that, we have reached the end of the video. Thanks so much for listening, guys. That was a lot of information. We broke down every single character, so hopefully now you feel like you have a good understanding of where everyone falls in this patch and what everyone's changes actually look like in game. If you're curious about my opinion, I'm actually really happy with this patch so far. I'm just excited to kind of jump back in and have a reason to, you know, grind this game again and to lab things. You know, that's to me is the most fun, is like the labbing aspect and, you know, the theory crafting and just having new things to play around with. So the fact that there's so much new stuff, especially just in the system mechanics and then with the characters themselves, I'm just really excited to have a good reason to play this game again. Man, it's so impossible that we actually got this. Like, I can't believe I even made this video. Like, I can't believe there's more patches to break down. So yeah, definitely let me know. Expect more guides in the future. I'll definitely be redoing some of my guides, like the Ginyu guide, the baby guide, the Zamasu guide. Probably try to throw a Freeza guide in there if I can. Gonna do some other guides. People were saying they wanted like a returning player guide. I'll look into that too, like tips for if you're coming back to the game after a long break. I'll look into that. I also wanted to do a beginner's guide for people that are just flat out new. That's something I want to do as well. Maybe a team building guide. I haven't done a team building guide in a while. Let me know if that's something you guys would be interested in. But again, I feel like that's kind of hard to do with this version of the game because everybody's so good and everybody's an anchor, so you know it's kind of hard to make one of those with this version of the game. But yeah, definitely let me know what you guys think. But as always, appreciate it. Y'all have a good one. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed this or if it helped out. It does help out the channel a lot. Subscribe if you want to see more like this if you haven't already. Consider becoming a member if you really want to help out the channel. I do really appreciate it. But as always, you guys have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.